So, New Year's resolutions. What do I want in 2026? I want to do more fragrance videos. So, yes, good afternoon. It's that time of year, isn't it, really, where we're all starting to think about next year, maybe the future, New Year's resolutions, all those sort of things. For me, I like to look not too far ahead. I like to try and just make sure I get everything out of today. But of course, you've always got things to look forward to. You don't get through anything in life without a bit of planning, whether that's a holiday, birthdays, all those sorts of things. I mean, I've got my big 30th birthday next year. Of course, I want a big party for that. But anyway, AI. I haven't done many videos with ChatGPT lately, have I? And I thought today, well, AI is very good at predicting the future. AI is going to become a much bigger thing in the future, isn't it? I'm already finding I'm becoming more lazy with things because I just use it. Probably not a good thing. But I want to use it today to predict the future of fragrances. So, yeah, what could be happening in the future? We're obviously in 2025 at the minute. We're going to pretend we're now 2026. What would happen in 2036? What could be the difference? It's going to be new fragrance releases. A brand's going to buy other brands. Essentially, I've written down 10 questions here. So these aren't my New Year's resolutions. I've written down 10 questions. I want AI or ChatGPT to try and give me some answers and maybe, yeah, just maybe make me think a little bit more. Could that be the future? Some of these old fragrances that we talk about now, are they still going to exist? Are the popular ones still going to exist? All those things. So what I'll do, I'm just going to rattle through the 10 questions and I'm really intrigued to see what their answers are. We'll give a sort of a bit of feedback after each question, just so yeah we can collate our thoughts together. Okay, so what have I said? I said, hi there. I have 10 questions for you predicting the future of the fragrance industry in 2036. I want you to answer them with your prediction. Does that make sense? They said, yes, that makes perfect sense. Go ahead and send me your 10 questions about the future of the fragrance industry in 2036, and I'll give you thoughtful, well reasoned predictions for each. We'll be the judge of whether it's thoughtful or well reasoned, won't we? Let's get on with it. First question is, what will be the biggest brands in the fragrance industry in 2036?
That's a fun one. By 2036, I'd expect some of the current luxury and niche brands to still be dominant, like Chanel, Dior, and Tom Ford. But I also anticipate that newer, innovative brands leveraging technology, sustainability, and personalization will rise to prominence. Think of brands that integrate AI to create custom scents or those that are highly eco friendly. It'll be an interesting mix.
Eco-friendly, that's very true. Any examples?
Absolutely. For example, we might see brands like Le Labo or Byredo
They
continue
already
to
are.
grow, especially if they keep innovating with sustainable practices. We might also see entirely new players emerging, possibly tech driven companies that combine fragrance with wearable technology, or
Got
even
it.
brands that focus on hyper personalization through AI, tailoring scents to individual preferences. It'll definitely be a mix of tradition and innovation.
You know, I really like that answer, and it's something that I've thought about in the past. Is what could my fragrance inventions be, or what could the future of fragrances be? I always said about a fragrance bottle that's got like shower gel as well, like a compartment bottle. But obviously, if you see my fitness fragrance reviews, I love the idea of tech and fragrances sort of mixing together. Because I always say during my runs, sometimes the scent keeps me going. There's so many times I've been on a run, and let's say it's a sticky dates or a fresh fragrance, I go, oh, I can smell that. That just distracts my mind from the aches and pains. Maybe a watch with a little like scent capsule could potentially be great, couldn't it? A little spray that you could just smell on your arm. I really like that. I think that's actually a much better answer than I would have given them credit for. So let's see what they come up with the next one. Okay, the next question. What fragrance is still around in 2026 do you think will still be around in 2036?
That's a great question. I think a lot of iconic fragrances will definitely endure. For instance, classics like Chanel Number 5, Dior Sauvage, and Creed Aventus will likely remain popular due to their timeless appeal. Also, some niche fragrances that have cult followings, like those from Diptyque or Serge Lutens, will probably still be around. Of course, newer scents that are launched in the next decade and gain strong followings will likely become staples as well.
So yeah, probably quite expected there. I completely agree. I think sometimes I almost think, oh, 10 years time, it's all going to completely change. And of course, there'll be new flankers, there'll be new releases. But if you think about it, like the Aqua de Parma Original Cologne, it's been out since 1916. There's some Guerlain fragrances that have been out since 1860. They're still around. Yes, they'll be reformulated, they'll change, But I don't think 10 years is a long time when you think about it. I know I was thinking the other day, 2016 doesn't seem that far away, does it? I was still at university, and yeah, I can just picture every day back then, as I do now. So I don't think a lot will change in fact. I think the staples, as she was saying, will pretty much always be there. They're timeless. I mean, I'm never going to get sick of a citrus scent. I'm just not. And I don't think people getting into French's younger people will do either. They've been around for a while, and I'm sure they're going to stay around certainly over the next 10 years. Okay, question 3 is in 2036, what new fragrance releases do you think there will be? And I want you to give me some names for those releases. Give me some made up fragrance names that you think will exist.
Oh, that sounds fun. All right, so for 2036, I can imagine some innovative names. For example, maybe a fragrance called Quantum Bloom, which blends futuristic scents with natural elements, or something like Eclipse Veil, which could combine exotic nighttime florals and mysterious spices. Another one might be Neon Horizon, a vibrant blend of synthetic and citrus notes, and maybe even Eco Whisper, focusing on sustainable green ingredients. It'll definitely be a creative mix.
So interesting. This is eco vibe, which I'm really liking at the moment. Again, I've obviously got Lush fragrances. They very much promote the fact they're vegan products, and again, safe synthetics they do have, but mainly if they can, they go completely natural. So yeah, maybe we will see some sort of eco names of things as well. I do like her names. I like the idea of alter ego. So I said about this combining, obviously Prada's just bought Versace, maybe where they combine like a soapy Prada scent, that more sort of nighttime, old school, Versace scent, whether that's the Dreamer or Blue Jeans. I quite like that idea. But yeah, interesting. I love coming up with fragrance names. I think that's good. And imagine if one of these comes true. Honestly, if that's the case, and it does become very popular, I'll think I missed a trick there. But yeah, let's go on to question 4. So question 4 is, what new fragrance ideas or inventions do you think will come out in 2036? So my example is bottles that are also a shower gel and a perfume that are in one compartment. Do you have any ideas of what could come up? What new ideas and inventions could be possible in 2036?
Absolutely. That's such a cool concept. I can imagine a few other innovations as well. For example, we might see fragrance infused fabrics where clothing or accessories are embedded with scent capsules that release fragrance throughout the day. Another possibility is personalized scent pods where you can mix and match different fragrance notes on demand, kind of like a modular system. We could also see augmented reality fragrances where scents are released in sync with visual cues from AR devices. And we might even have interactive smart fragrance diffusers that adjust the scent based on your mood or environment.
I like that.
Lots of possibilities.
I'm always miserable, so that wouldn't probably work for me. I like that. Thank you. Okay, so my next question is, Prada has recently bought Versace in 2025. Do you see any brands buying some other companies by 2036?
Absolutely. I can definitely see more consolidation happening in the industry by 2036. For instance, we might see luxury conglomerates like LVMH or Kering acquiring smaller niche fragrance brands to expand their portfolios. We might also see collaborations between tech companies and fragrance houses, leading to acquisitions that combine both industries. It'll definitely be interesting to see how the landscape evolves.
Interesting to me and you, probably to a lot of people, very boring. But yeah, again, it's very much onto that mixing tech and fragrance. And again, they're both massive industries, and you can see why. If I was now starting a fragrance industry, or I was in a tech industry, there's something for it, isn't there? There's definitely something for it, even if it is like I don't know, something in clothing where there's like a little, like she said earlier, a little capsule where you can press it. So if you think you smell a little bit, you've got something on the go. It's in your clothing, it's in your fabric. She's getting me thinking. Okay, my next question is, in 2025, currently the most popular fragrance notes tend to be vanilla and caramel. In the past, they used to be more smoky leather notes. What do you think the most popular fragrance notes will be in 2036?
This is a fascinating shift to think about. By 2036, I can imagine that we'll see a blend of nature inspired and tech infused notes. For instance, we might see more emphasis on bioengineered scents like lab created florals or fruits that are more sustainable. We might also see a rise in futuristic clean notes like ozone or mineral accords. And I think we might even see some experimental blends that incorporate elements like space inspired or cosmic notes. It'll definitely be a fun and
What does
diverse
space
mix.
smell like? What does space smell like, honestly? Interesting. Very, very interesting. I mean, I always say nature inspired fragrances are really good. I think Hermes does the best job of it, whether it's Terre Hermes, they obviously go into those more mineral notes. You know, they've got some flankers that are the same, Rhubarb Eclat. I think they're leading that. I think synthetic notes are still going to be a thing though. Again, I like the idea of this eco element, but yeah, the space one's weird. What does space smell like? None of us have been up there really, so hmm, well, again, it's an idea, isn't it? Not a best one though. Okay, number 7. Do you think old school fragrances like Aramis and Dupe will still be relevant in 2036?
I definitely think there will still be a place for those classic fragrances. Even though trends evolve, a lot of people really appreciate that timeless vintage vibe. I can imagine that fragrances like Aramis and Juke will have a dedicated fan base and
Dupe,
might
not
even see a
Dupe.
resurgence as people look for nostalgic or retro scents. Plus, there's might be a modern twist on them so they can stay relevant and appealing. It'll be interesting to see how they evolve.
Now, I like the idea of these fragrance brands evolving, but we've seen with Aramis recently, they've done fragrances like Intuition. They've done many fragrances in recent times that I appreciate. Aramis Adventurer is a brilliant fragrance, but you can't get it anymore. Aramis Black I never smelt, but I would have liked it. There was an Aramis Special Blend, which was these lovely spices, one of the best fragrances out there. They just haven't lasted the test of time because I think people recognise Aramis as that fragrance and Dupe as that fragrance. It's almost like they are just the name of the fragrance rather than the actual name of the brand. And I just think when there is a modern twist on them, the people who like Aramis are not looking at this, and the people who have never been into Aramis, people who are younger, will see it as an older person's scent. So for me, it's tough for those companies. I think they need to try and somehow change people's opinions, shift people's opinions, and that's what they're trying to do at the moment with new releases. But it's very tough when these other Frenches are doing it already, and you know you're just catching up. Then, if you're doing what they're already doing, then yeah, maybe you just need to go completely different and break the mold in another way. Okay, number 8. Will the clone fragrance industry kill off experienced, expensive brands?
That's a really intriguing question. I think the clothing fragrance crossover will definitely grow and it might put some pressure on traditional.
Not clothing, clone. Let's ask her again. Do you think in 2036 clone fragrances will overtake the expensive scents that we have to pay over £300 for today?
I do think clothing fragrances will become more popular and definitely offer a convenient and accessible alternative, and they might even
She
appeal
said
to a younger
clothing again.
demographic. However, I believe that
Stop.
high end luxury scents will still hold a special place, partly because of their craftsmanship, their heritage, and the exclusivity factor. So I think they'll coexist and each will have its own niche and audience in 2036.
Not clothing, clones. Like cloning something. Clones.
Ah, got it. That makes sense. In that case, I do think that cloned or synthetic fragrances could
Third time
definitely
lucky.
impact the traditional luxury market. As technology advances, it might become easier and more cost effective to replicate complex scents, which could make high end fragrances more accessible. Still, I think that the artistry and the heritage behind expensive brands will keep them relevant for enthusiasts and collectors. It'll definitely be an interesting balance.
Now, for me, that is something I agree with. Particularly when it comes to gifting, I'm not too worried about myself personally, but it's nice to buy an actual fragrance for someone like the proper Tom Ford. It just feels like you've put a bit more care and a bit more thought into it. And I do also think, will there be some different rights over time? Because this clone industry seems to be growing. I just wonder if there'll be a way that they can almost trademark a scent. I don't know if you can do that. Obviously, I don't know. Maybe you can, maybe logos. I think names have been sort of trademarked because obviously you see like these clone brands like the Essence Vault 477 or whatever they call them. They're not very memorable and they can't really replicate it. So I wonder if some of these big companies, if the clone industry does become bigger, will maybe find a way that they can't replicate the scent almost in the same way. But who knows? It'd be interesting. I think clone fragrances are great. I think there's a place for them. And I said for me, who I'm not earning enough money to keep spending 300, £400 on a scent. That's a one-off luxury thing, which I still think will have its relevance. But yeah, it is a big threat to these brands like Tom Ford because I wouldn't buy Lost Cherry or Oudwood again. I just get the clones. Okay, question 9. In 2036, what celebrity that doesn't already have a fragrance line do you think will start a fragrance line?
Ooh, that's a fun one. I can imagine a celebrity like Zendaya venturing into the fragrance world, given her strong style and influence. Another possibility could be someone like Billie Eilish, who already has a unique aesthetic and a very distinct persona. And maybe even someone like Elon Musk, who's always pushing boundaries, could come up with a futuristic scent. It'll definitely be interesting to see who jumps in.
Well, Elon Musk already has one. I believe I did a review or did a video on this recently where I think it smells like burnt hair or something. Yeah, really weird one. Maybe I'm completely wrong with that, but he definitely does have some fragrances. Now, what celebrity do I think that's around today could potentially do that? And I go back to my fitness fragrance reviews. I actually think sort of sports people could definitely go into it more. Obviously, we see athletes like Ronaldo, Messi, people like that. But maybe someone who I don't know if you want to call him a celebrity. But does anyone remember Joe Wicks doing all the exercise during COVID time? He did all the sort of PE lessons at home. Someone like him could release a line because he's more relatable to the everyday person. He's not earning millions a week, well, he probably is now, but he wasn't earning big bucks. Someone who's just doing it at home, gym workout people. What could you wear to go into the gym? Because let's be honest, these footballers driving expensive cars. So maybe someone like that. Maybe just someone who's into their fitness. Maybe a marathon runner who aren't as famous. I think they could definitely jump on this because I know I would definitely buy a scent that's called Marathon or something just to see what it smells like as much as anything. So yeah, interesting one. Don't even know who Zendaya is. Let me know in the comments if you know who that is. I'm obviously just getting old. Okay, and the final question is, in 2036, what will the average price be for a fragrance?
That's an interesting one to consider. I think by 2036, we might see a wider range of prices with more accessible tech driven fragrances. Some could be quite affordable, maybe in the range of $30 to $50. On the other hand, luxury or highly personalized scents could still be premium, potentially ranging from a few $100s to even higher. So the average might fall somewhere around maybe $100 to $150, depending on the brand and the level of customization. It'll be a cool mix of affordability and luxury.
Yeah, so not a lot different to what it is today. Now, I would be surprised. I think there's some fragrances, though, that have done really well to keep their price. Bentley for Men Intense hasn't really got that much more expensive, and it's very hard to put a price on fragrances. I always think that general vibe is around £35 to £40, and that's kind of roughly what they're saying here, essentially. Um, I think what you'll just find more than anything is there'll be new releases that are more affordable, and then some of these scents that maybe are quite good price at the moment. Some of those Bentley fragrances that I've said about, even some Hermes ones, they might just rocket up in price because they're harder to get, all those sorts of things, particularly ones that are discontinued. But fragrances are so different in prices. Sometimes they can be, there's a coffee one, obviously double espresso I've got, that I bought for £19 on Latino, and then a few weeks later it was £60. So it's just being observant, being aware, and obviously places like eBay and stuff, you can buy fragrances that people don't want for a good price. I can't see that changing too much. So in that sense, I think she's right. So that is it for today. So what were the sort of main things that I picked up from that in terms of fragrances in 2036? Well, I was really intrigued by this idea of it becoming more eco. And I said Lush very much. I've got a Lush bottle here, actually, one of their body sprays. They're all about being vegan, fighting animal testing. And I think that's going to be a big thing for people, is just trying to make fragrances just more eco-friendly. Packaging might change. This is a recyclable bottle. Another thing they do with Lush fragrances is you take 5 of these back, or 5 any products that you finish, they'll give you a free face mask after it. And you might see a few more things like that. Refillable bottles, obviously they've become a thing as well, where you can just buy like Mugler Amen and then just refill it essentially in the shop. So those things might become a little bit more. I like the idea of combining sort of tech in the future with scents. Maybe there'll be more things in clothing, maybe there'll be things in your glasses. Who knows? But I do like those ideas, and yeah, as long as they don't become too expensive, I'll still be buying them as well. Hopefully, I'll still be doing my YouTube channel by then. I think I'll have a few more grey hairs, and yeah, probably a lot of you will be absolutely sick of me by then. But I hope you've enjoyed this one today anyway, and yeah, obviously have a little think around your New Year's resolutions now, because I need to start thinking of mine as well. But thanks for watching. I'll catch you later.